Okay.
We were getting.
Okay. Great. I'm glad you took quick action. Is it okay if I continue on? Is there anyone else who would like to speak under non-arranged? Okay.
We got Zoom bombed. A bunch of random people logged in and all collectively changed their screen over to something inappropriate.
Oh, is that?
Yeah. So
It's a good thing we had Chet to talk to us, so we were paying attention to him instead of the screen. See?
yeah.
Okay, are there any conflicts of interest to declare under item F?
No.
Seeing none, we have item G is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda this evening?
I'll move it. Go ahead, Danny.
I'll make it. I'll move it.
Moved by yourself,
I'll second.
second by Tel. Any discussion or? Powell?
Actually, I think this is regardless, it's for new business, not.
Okay,
I just noticed there was an error in the new business.
something you want to correct?
Just, I think DA voted for task 1 and task 4, but then. task
Oh,
one and
yeah.
task 2,
Mhm.
just little discrepancy.
Yep,
Yeah.
no, that's good.
Thank you.
Good correction. Thank you. Okay, Beth, please call the vote to approve the agenda.
Smith Arrow,
Yes.
Popoff,
Yes,
Schlaf,
Yes.
Tell,
Yes.
Aldag. Yes. Keel.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. We have no public hearings under item H. So we'll flip over to page 2 of the agenda. Under section I, we have our upcoming meeting list, our meeting calendar. Does anybody have any comments on the meeting calendar? No questions? Seeing none, I'll keep going. Our first report tonight is from our Public Services Superintendent. Welcome, Tim. How are you?
Good. How was everybody tonight?
Very good.
Good. So I got 2 week report from us, answering questions. I have a few things I want to know afterwards.
How's it going on the fifth well with the electric feed and
It's all taken care
is it,
of. Yeah. So actually, that will lead into something. It's
pardon me?
gonna lead into something again when I got something else to say.
Carry on. Thank you.
You're good.
Are you pleased with how the roads look? And are you pleased with how the paving looks?
I am very pleased. We were just talking about it before this meeting. You're talking about, I think it looks great. The guys like factory looks good.
Looks like the company did a nice job. What was that, Reeve Riley?
Rethriving.
Yeah, they did a
really
good,
nice job.
they did a real good job.
Yeah.
Quick too.
They do still have at least a few weeks on the concrete side of things. But the road work is substantially done and it does look good.
Nice. Tim, I bring this up every now and then. Is there any plan to get the woody debris that builds up under the walkway out of there
I
or?
did talk to LMJ about, well, I talked to him originally, and then I waited and I seen him about 3 weeks to a month ago, and he said he's gonna get back to me, still hasn't. I just got back from vacation last week, so I can get back on. So
I didn't know if that was something that maybe we could take on park cleanup day or not if we needed to. It was difficulty. Anyway, throw it out there. If you- if you have a professional do it, I think that's the way to go.
Getting down there.
Okay. The other thing relative to the park, as I walked through. I noticed a lot of people when they ride their bikes, can touch the lowest limbs. On the walkway, as you go from past the Pat and Paul Cousins sign towards the bridge to Westridge or Johnson Mills. And I don't know, you might take a look and, maybe just a little light trimming to lift those a little bit. They seem low
it's
to
on the
me.
path you're saying?
Yeah, just on that main path, not the one to the steps, but the main one through the north part of the park. Just take a look at it, see what you think.
Which part, I'm sorry?
North,
Okay.
north of the fire station. And then, I noticed also there's a lot of boards that are coming loose on the path south towards the cemetery.
Yeah, I know they've been working on that.
Yeah, that's evident.
Yeah,
No, it's good, it's good. There's been a lot
Right.
placed. Okay.
Yeah, because it obviously, well, everything, price of bowling is wood and stuff, it's
Okay,
That's the biggest thing right now is the price, and we're getting as much as we can.
Well, and the replacements that you guys are doing looks good to me. Looks real good. It's no, there's more to do. Okay, are we just doing it as we have time? Is that how it's working out? Or
So they've been trying to plan specific days
okay,
to get in there, because when they do it, they have to close the path.
yeah,
And so we're trying not to have it closed here, closed there, like trying to plan for the closures.
Yeah, you six bucks should happen, maybe.
just as long as there's a plan to do it. That's okay. Okay, all right. I'm good. That's all my comments. Ray, no questions for Tim?
No, don't need me.
So,
Tim?
update on a couple of things, Alpine. Knock on wood, should be open by the end of the week, they're talking.
Oh, you liar.
I'm trying not to, believe me, Justin and I sit in the meeting every Friday and talk about it, so they've been talked to plenty of times about this. Problem is all connected, except for the water main underneath the viaduct and stuff to Westridge, but they have water into their site. They did open the road. I got on about that too, how long that took for them. But they are hooked up. They had water to their site. That's a good thing. Sewer was connected last Thursday. I'm happy with that.
I'm sorry, so you mean the water's under the river and over to the site?
Yep.
Okay,
All hooked up. We got all the Baptiste came back, everything's good. So
Perfect.
we're good to go. Then they obviously paid it last week. Came back to a high water use for everything, and we were producing about 300,000 gallons more than usual, and couldn't find. We knew we had a leak somewhere, and we had to find it. And we did find it. Fortunately, it was a bad spot on Hanover River Drive. And so we put an emergency gate valve basically in, because up until that point, we really never had anything to shut the water off going to the industrial side over there. We had to shut the plant down basically. So when we did the hydrants about 10 years ago, we just had to put a hydro stop. And when we did it this time, I was talking with Justin about it, and it's more money, but to me, it just made more sense. So now we can shut that water off and still be able to feed the city with the filter building instead of well five. So that's all taken care of.
and you repaired the.
Yeah, well, we did, and the company did.
Understand.
Yeah, but so we had to come out and it was some bolts that busted off the gate valve and basically blew out the gasket in there. But what I was trying to allude to earlier was well 5 was a big help. So we got that up and running when we did it, because to pump that much, we have enough in the tower to run a whole day, but I don't want that close. So well 5 was able to keep up, and it got a use for about 4 days. Good use, more than it usually does, and it worked out good. And it's over and done. Didn't see it the night before, but we're good. So, but it was. I'm glad I got it done the way we did it.
So the valve that you added was it on the DPW property or on the north side of the DPW property?
So what happened, and Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, so when they brought that over there, they originally just went down here in River Drive. Then at a later time, they brought it out and then went underneath to, it's not a shore building, but then a couple parcels over there. So they had valves on either side. They just didn't have a valve to shut that main line going to that off. So to do what we had to do, like I said, we did the hydrants, we had to do a line stop to be able to stop the flow from there. So now and like Justin and I discussed earlier, probably won't happen now because we've spent the money, but if we ever have a problem, we could do that now. And we could shut that out and basically fix what almost in-house we could do.
Was that a 12-inch or an 8 or
Well,
12? Okay.
that's why it was not cheap. So
Very good call on your part. That main was put in 68 or 69. So, I mean. We always thought we could just shut down the filtration plant and run off the 5th well. So if this would have happened 2 or 3 weeks ago,
I wouldn't, if this would have happened to,
when we didn't have any electricity, we would have been running off a backup generator for the 5th well. Anyway,
yes, basically.
good call.
Yeah, it worked out. An expensive couple weeks, but it's fixed.
Great. Appreciate the report.
Okay, thanks.
Next up is our community development manager. Is Michelle online? She is. No, it's not.
Yes, I'm online.
Hi, Michelle.
How you doing?
Good, and you?
I'm doing fine. Seems like you've had a busy meeting so far. You've handled it well, everyone. You've got my 2-week report in front of you, and before I give you just the couple updates I've got, please let me know if you've got any questions.
Questions for Michelle? Sanam has one.
Hi, Michelle, this is Sana.
Hi,
A
Sanam.
question for you, and it could be you and Justin together. I don't know, so I'm gonna ask it. The ballot proposal was a 2/3 yes, so exciting for us. What are the next steps, and if we have heard any potential interest and such that can be shared?
It's a really good question, and Justin and I have ordered an getting my projects mixed up.
Different thing, Michelle.
Yep, I know. The next steps, I'm presuming within your next meeting or so, the council will be discussing, if you're going to list the property, things like that. That will be something Justin works with you on. To your second question, excuse me, yes, before the vote, Dr. Sakuri from Dexter Orthodontics, who I believe is there this evening, reached out to me to find out what the city was going to be doing with the property. I explained the ballot initiative and that nothing would happen until then, and then afterwards, any direction council took in regard to putting the property up for sale, et cetera, would be done through a very public process. But Dr. Shakuri is interested in the property for developing it for a new medical office building. So he can probably give you more information if you're interested. But that's the only person that has contacted me directly. And obviously the two realtors, one being Mr. Flewelling and then the other being Mr. Evans, also have been interested in what the outcome of the vote was. I have provided them with that information as well. And they've offered their services to the city as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good question. Any other questions for Michelle? Michelle, any other updates for us?
There is going to be a ZBA hearing next week, Monday, for a variance for a reduced setback between principal structure and a detached accessory structure. And we also have administrative site plan review for the telecommunications property that's on 2nd Street, 7866 2nd Street. It's next to Adair. That was built back in the early 2000s. There hasn't been a whole lot done with it since, but apparently they need to make some expansion of the telecommunications equipment. It's pretty non-invasive, but they do have to follow, the zoning ordinance for this expansion. So I'll keep you up to date on what that looks like.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Stay cool.
You as well.
Okay, as I pass down the report section, past 3 or 4, does anybody have any comments on any of those committees or reports that they'd like to add? Did I hear the streets committee did meet?
Yes, yep.
Yeah, good. Okay, we'll move on to city manager report.
Do you want to go ahead?
Yeah. So just on that real quick, for the roads committee, we did meet just before city council this afternoon. It was Dan, Joe, myself, Tim, Marcus, Stacy, and Chris Anikowski and Josh. We talked about strategies for 2029, but then also developing language concepts for the out years through 2034, potential goals, and what RoadSoft might predict for those years in terms of quantities of different types of treatments. Overall, we're continuing to look at microsurface as one of the primary treatment methods. But then also looking at other specific roads for heavier treatment, like Cambridge, Fifth, between Alpine and Broad, and a few others. We talked about a couple other strategies, like doing a 1-inch overlay of asphalt on roads that we know that we're not going to be able to get to sooner rather than later. And overall, good meeting. Dan, Joe, I don't know if you have anything you want to.
I was just gonna say, I mean, I think what we discussed is that, OHM will bring back, some, a recommendation and options for the 2029.
Mhm.
And the idea would be, a longer plan with some feedback on how the plan looks at this point in time. Are we on a track to get to better roads? Or are we on a track to end up with worse roads? Or are we gonna be about the same as we are? Just to give us some kind of feedback on that, to let the council make an overall decision about how we want to proceed long-term with how that plan might develop. So, I mean, we really already have the next 3 years pretty planned out, right? We've already talked about that. We've already voted on that and everything. So the question is, how in those next 5 years after that go? The only thing to remember is that long-term planning likely is gonna have some changes in it regardless. I thought, like Justin said, we asked for some more feedback on short-term to bring back to council for a decision, and then also have a long-term plan. Again, to give council the option and opportunity to make a decision about what we want to try and do in the long term as much as we can plan right now. Excuse me.
Will the streets committee be getting back together?
Think so.
That's the plan.
Gotcha. I just one thing, right? I had a resident reach out to me about whether or not we wanted to allow small use vehicles like golf carts within our street network as a permitted vehicle. So I thought I'd kick that over to the street committee
Oh,
and
God.
For use at the golf course and.
well,
To the community pool or. the
not
clubhouse?
on the walking
Somewhere.
path, not on the non-motorized, but the question is, like, people said, what if we wanted to take our kids to school
On a golf cart.
in a golf cart?
To the school pass?
Apparently, there are other communities that have looked at this and feel it's a reduced form of energy. Anyway, there's certainly concerns. I just thought I'd share that with you.
Quick question.
Yes, Dan,
On the roads or the sidewalk?
on the roads, as I understood it.
Okay, so they've gotta be, I mean, they have not ATVs, but what do you call them?
I'll share the email with everybody on council, but I
I
thought.
mean, they've gotta have blinkers and tail
Yes,
lights.
so, yeah, Brett and I were just in South Haven. And we did see a good number of people zipping around on golf carts in South Haven while we were there.
Eva gave me a stern head shake. Okay, on this one. You have a feeling one way or the other? I'm interested.
Very anti-golf cart. But I mean, I've driven in areas like with my parents that have golf carts on the street, and especially if people are using them to take their kids to school. We already have a huge traffic problem when it comes to like transporting your kids to school, especially around the elementary schools. And I just think it's a horrible idea to introduce golf carts, which will just make it.
Good job.
There you go. Okay. I'm gonna.
Sean,
Email with everyone so they can read it. If I wanted to mention, I got that suggested.
Michelle's not her hands.
Oh, sorry, sure, Michelle, please.
So the person that you got the email for, I believe, is probably the same one who contacted me and asked me the question. There is a state law that would allow it, golf carts to be allowed on streets no more than 35 miles an hour. They do not have to be license plated, et cetera. And there's a number of restrictions, but they can only do that in communities in where the legislative body has authorized it by resolution. So I'm happy to send out the specific statute for y'all to look at. It's an interesting thing for consideration, but personally, I think it takes a good deep dive to really know what to do, one way or the other.
I was gonna mention that in my report, but I started to think about it in light of the streets thing, so I figured I'd just mention it here. I did receive an email and I will share that with everybody. Whether we do it or not, I don't particularly know or not if we should, but anyway, I want to share the information and I appreciate you jumping in and participating. It's good. Mr. Tell.
I want to go back to the road committee. Now, you guys are meeting ongoing, and so are you pulling research from the past? Like, are you implementing phaser ratings from years ago and trying to integrate them into your matrix, or are we doing a whole new, different rating of the roads?
So we've been doing PASER ratings either every year, or every other year for a long time.
Right, I just haven't seen anything updated. I'm assuming if you guys get done talking, I'll see some kind of a general.
Yeah, when each year when council adopts the updated transportation asset management plan, there's a grouping of pages with updated information, and
Right.
one of those is the updated PASER information.
So since that was instituted as a phaser rating, maintained kind of what it's supposed to maintain, showing an actual decline gradually rather than a huge jump in certain areas and miraculous recovery in other areas. There's certain streets that have changed so dramatically that they need to be attended to right now, and they, just like when we do the sewer and water, all of a sudden someone jumps up and it's immediate. Is there several of those?
So the PASER ratings help us so OHM can take the PASER ratings and plug it into what's called RoadSoft.
Right.
And it spits out a recommendation of, here, in order to meet your goals,
Correct.
here's the percentage of microsurface you should do. Here's the percentage of mill and overlay you should do. And so while we do the updated PASER ratings and, the different roads increase or decrease as we do projects, that is one tool in helping determine what upcoming projects should be, if that makes sense.
But have they changed a lot from the previous phaser? Any particular, like Second Street, as it went from like a 5 to a 2?
They do change over time.
Has there been any radical change other than a gradual and expected?
I don't know. Go ahead.
Quick answer to that. So the software does look at, there's an expected deterioration,
Of course.
and what the software coins as percent confidence is how far off of that expected line you are. So we do look at that every year. If we see a street that is falling way off where we expect it to be, we're flagging it, we're talking about it.
All right, so has there been any flags?
Nothing significant, not in the last year or two, no.
Yeah, that's what that's what I'm trying to get at. You've got a plan in place. I want to see how.
I just want you to know that's looked at and that'll be in the report.
Right,
If
I
there
hate,
is a block that,
Right.
and we talked about this, at the road committee meeting.
I'm just saying, when I look at the report and I see the one year was a 5 and this year's a 2, That's gonna raise a flag for me, and I'm gonna know, wanna know all kinds of crap, man.
Yes, that'll be identified in the report.
But there's also different areas of the city, the roads are deteriorate at different rates sometimes as well.
I know, I expect that, yes.
Right, but like the example we actually talked about today was Westridge still
Okay.
has the original roads.
Right,
They've been microsurfaced at least twice.
Twice.
So, but the thing is, 25 years, they've been microsurfaced twice, and they're not really slated for, you know, it was like 8 years in between the two treatments and stuff. Dexter Crossing and Huron Farms, we're working on the second mill and overlay.
Mhm.
So I mean, we're like 3 orders of magnitude on difference of how the roads are aging and stuff like that. So overall, there's a picture of how that curve, like Mark's saying, goes. But there's also specific areas that they differ as well on how they go. And, you know, and you have to take those things into account as well.
which is what I would expect. I would expect no less. I would expect you guys to spot trouble spots, and because of trouble spots, I expect they'd be addressed a little more quickly, because they're not gonna get less, they're just gonna get worse quicker.
Yeah,
So,
well, and that's not necessarily true either. You know, the operating philosophy in the road maintenance world is keep the good roads good. And so the overall strategy is you invest in those lower cost treatments on more roads in order to keep those good roads good. And then you try and tackle the more expensive and costly treatments as dollars allow.
well, I'm sure that's a good philosophy for everybody who, except those people living on crappy roads.
Well,
Well, that's, you know.
thus the challenge.
That's just Star Trek, man. The good of the few at the expense of the many.
Ray, we drive lighter vehicles in Westridge.
There you go.
Yeah, golf carts, yeah.
Everybody got parked down at the park and ride,
Like,
take a shuttle to your golf
I
cart.
believe they're Cape Seals. Okay, so we haven't microsurfaced. in-
Yeah, well, the first one was a true
Chip seal?
chip seal. And then the last one was a slurry seal.
Yes, sir.
The good thing with this is we've already been through this process.
Oh, I know.
You know what I mean? When we started out, I don't know how many years ago, and we started out fixing up the roads.
It's gotta be 20.
Right, and then at the end of it, we knew we had some really bad roads. It was gonna take a lot of money.
Right.
So that's a good thing. We've been through this once already, and I think it was very successful. And I think we can do something similar to that with OHM's help and Justin and Tim's, and we're gonna be all right.
Well, I understand the philosophy of keeping upgraded what you already have is upgraded. Take care of what you got, and then try to redeem what's being a little bit worse is like a one-on-one situation. I'm assuming you can do one big project or whatever for planning and.
But that's all part of the strategy is trying to slot in the right roads at the right time and trying to make our dollar go the furthest by using the least costly treatments first and going from there.
With the recognition that you can't let a road go forever
Mhm.
without repair.
Yes.
And so we talked about that in the meeting, and so the report you're gonna get is gonna flag that. And I hope that'll be complete where you can have a intelligent discussion about what you want, how you want to prioritize. But balancing that, maintaining what you have, and also keeping all the roads safe.
Did the committee talk at all about ADA crossings or sidewalk at all in the quarters?
Very briefly.
Just about the fact that it's a chunk out of the budget.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
Well, like, for example, this crossing the railroad track right here is on my list of things that I'd like to figure out how to get improved.
Oh, that is planned for this September.
This September? Oh, well, that's great. Okay.
The railroad's gonna do it.
Okay.
Are you sure?
I don't think I
They're
heard
kind of
that.
deliberate.
I missed that. Okay.
Generally speaking, though, we do incorporate what we expect the average cost of ADA improvements to be when we do the project.
Yeah.
Into the model.
Yeah, okay. Dan?
We also talked about, ADA, we talked about sidewalks, we talked about stormwater, all them things. We've been fighting with for a number of years, not fighting with, but it takes away from the road projects.
Right.
It has to be done, right? But it's really expensive. And it's not going into the roads.
So our goal is to give you the information.
Right.
Then
Right.
you use that to make your prioritization decisions.
Makes sense. Very good.
This your,
Thank you, Marcus.
is this your report or your?
That's his report.
From my report.
Another question,
Yes, please.
sir?
Maybe a couple months ago, the director of WAVE was here. Explaining that, they might not get the funding they need. I've read in the paper that a lot of communities didn't. Contribute as much as the city did. So two things, I asked her to give me, if she would send me a budget. You know, so I could see the income from the various other entities. I don't know if she's ever sent you that, doesn't look like it. And then the other thing is. If we're doing the extensive amount of funding, I want to make sure that. Our stops. Are funded. I mean, they're funded, but I want them. That we're paying for them, I need them to be there.
So I know that they just released an announcement a couple weeks ago that
Right.
that they're scaling back service.
Correct.
And I don't believe that we are one of the impacted areas. So I think the fact that we are contributing what we are contributing is helping maintain the service here.
Yeah, I don't want to be difficult, I just want to see what everyone's contributing.
Mhm.
Then I'll be difficult. Is that possible to get a copy of their budget?
Yeah, we do have a representative to their board. And so there shouldn't be any reason why we can't get a report on that.
Yeah, it was a short article, but from what I gathered. Between the senior millage and federal funding and local contribution, they were gonna be quite short on their. Expected expense versus their revenue, so. But I don't.
Yeah, I think they're still waiting to get final numbers from the county for the senior millage. But
I can't remember if that was mentioned in the article or not about that, so.
But I believe a portion of that is going to the Dexter Senior Center, and I believe WAVE is also an eligible entity to receive some.
Did you grab that? Just send it to me so I can look at it.
Will do.
Joe?
On the SCADA with the, if you could reach out and just inquire about that, because. I mean, there was a couple of years ago in the news, there was a reporting about a couple of different of the. Even surrounding municipalities near us that were having issues with cyber issues on their systems.
Mhm.
So I just think, especially being that it's the water system, I think it's important for us to at least ask about, and make sure that there's some type of system in place. Thank you.
Asking about cybersecurity for our SCADA system. Yeah. Anybody have any other questions? There's a lot going on. So as we discussed earlier, the proposal on the August election passed. There was it was a pretty slow day in person for everyone who wasn't the absentee counting board. But there was a significant absentee turnout and contributed to a majority of our 28% overall turnout. The Mill Creek Park Cleanup Day has been set for October 25th. Initially, we were planning to do a tree planting project along with DTE relief in the park, but I don't think our schedules are going to line up. So we're going to keep our Mill Creek Park Cleanup Day and do those tree plantings on a different weekend day with their volunteers. The road commission is scheduled today to do a public presentation on the roundabout project at the Dexter Library. And I know that they need to be prepared for significant turnout.
I would say I don't have any, I haven't heard that there's a big group coming or
Mhm.
anything, but literally the biggest thing, if you want to get people to comment on social media, is make a comment about the bridge and people go crazy.
Mhm.
Literally hundreds of comments. I would be surprised if there isn't maybe a small but vocal turnout for the meeting, so.
Mhm. And to that point, there is a supplement that was laid on the table, with, answers to some questions. If anybody, has any questions after the meeting or during the meeting on any of those items, happy to answer them. Today is day one of the Paint Extra Plein Air Festival. This coming weekend will be the tent sale, starting on Friday. So come on out and take a look at the pieces that were created. We had a really good start to the morning. And looks pretty good out now. So hopefully they're out and about continuing their painting. One question that I did have for council is we had talked a little bit ago about looking into laptops for members of council. So I wanted to get a head count, and we'll go ahead and place an order. Which members of council would like a laptop for city business? Dan, Ray?
Yeah,
Okay.
I take these packets and I throw them on the table next to myself and in 9 months, it's gotta be a case of paper. So I don't know what a case of paper costs, but it's gotta be expensive. And over a 4-year term, that's gonna be,
Mhm.
3 cases.
Mhm.
And I just need it for this, I'm not gonna use it for nothing else.
Well, and that was one of the reasons that we looked into providing devices in the first place. And we did a round, but that was 2017, 2018. So it's been a few years. And I think it's time for some new equipment for folks who want it.
I suppose I could buy one. But I don't ever use it. And
Sure. The fire station project is moving along. Tim talked about the road reopening. Pelham, we met on site with a representative of the Westridge HOA last week to talk about the alignment for the water main going under the railroad and out to Eastridge along Island Lake. And we that was a good meeting. We came up with some potential changes in terms of material, how they're gonna potentially come at installing the pipe. Overall, really good meeting. We're waiting on OHM to provide some follow-up information that we can share with the HOA. Because ultimately it looks like we will need an easement with the Westridge HOA to get that pipe installed. So other than that, if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
how much difficulty is not having a farmer's market manager causing our staff?
It's a little bit extra work. So without the farmer's market manager, it's kind of Brenda and I are trying to tag team, responding to questions, helping organize the lineup. But then some of the vendors, so some of our recurring regular vendors who have been there year after year, are helping organize things on site, showing people their stalls and helping them get set up the morning of. I'm not gonna lie, it would be nice to have a farmer's market manager right now in the middle of the season. But may have to look at how much we're paying them and that sort of thing to recruit somebody.
Their salary is good. I gotta see if their salary is gonna balance and get how much time you gotta take out of your
Mhm.
normal schedule to activate that, so.
Yeah, well, the farmer's market manager position is a part-time and really seasonal position. And it's tough. the person who was in it before this year got a full-time job. Person before that moved states, person before that took another job, more full-time job. You know, being a part-time position, it is, one of the ones that is more likely to turn over regularly.
All good?
Yeah, I don't wanna do it.
I was gonna ask, Ray, do you want to be a farm works manager?
I'm more of a behind the scenes guy.
Good suggestion, right?
Golf.
Oh, yeah. Can be like in Caddyshack.
Justin, so your report?
Only if anybody has any questions.
Any other questions for Justin?
No, I will just make one comment, and it is on Tim's report, and I see our, usage went up 100,000 gallons, I believe, in 1 week, is that correct? And, it's just the beginning of August, so.
Well, and a part of that might have been attributable to the leak,
To what?
to the valve.
Oh, that's possible.
Mhm.
Okay, all right, well then I rescind my concern.
The back it was.
Okay, so Justin, one, I guess, follow-up question that sort of leads into a couple of things on my report. What day does the election get certified?
Usually it's up to a month after the date of the election.
Okay, so does that mean that we can't technically do anything until said day? Or is that?
I mean, I think we can start moving forward with getting our ducks in a row to, I mean, I wouldn't affirm a sale before that.
Well, sure, of course.
I don't think we would do that
All
anyway.
right, so we cannot accept a check this evening. No, but I do think, you know, all kidding aside, I do think that it's important that we figure out what the next step should be.
Mhm.
You know, I heard Michelle mention an appraisal or, before, I think we had that done already. So I know you had something.
She
done.
was leading into a different topic.
I know, but we had something on the property.
We
done,
do have an appraisal completed
So
on.
that part's done.
Yep.
If you could just outline what you think the next likely step should be for the next meeting, I'd appreciate that. In my report, I had the opportunity to reappoint a student that wanted to come back to our the Parks Committee.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
so that's in the packet. And then Deb Schroeder had to step down on the DDA, so there's another recommendation to fill her term out. Just want to mention those two things. As I've driven into town and even walked into town, when we did I was with Justin at the Friday morning water main discussion under the railroad tracks, and we walked through the viaduct to get there, because we were at the Pelham site to start with. The wall of the fire station, as you come into town, is very prominent on the west side. And to me, it speaks as a huge opportunity for a cool mural. So I'm wanting to throw that out there. Let you guys think about it a little bit. I'd like to kick it over to ACH, let them kind of think about that, maybe Parks Commission as well. Obviously, we don't have to paint it now. We certainly have time, but there's no windows on that wall. And it might be a cool way to promote the town or do something unique. I don't know what. I'm not defining the idea, but I'd like to just throw that out there as a suggestion.
Perhaps a contest.
Wait, something, you know, it's not gonna be a David Zinn that I vote for. I'll tell you that, okay? But anything else,
Well, that would.
okay,
draw a
anything
contest.
else, I'm happy to support.
How about?
It's
just
too
a-
big for him. He doesn't like his in plain sight, he likes to hide him.
Just a picture of the current council up there.
The benches along the pathway, these are great. Tim, good job. I've seen them in use. Good job, looks good. Cleanup is pretty good. Good locations. Pleased to see that. I wanted to mention the social district. There's an item on the consent agenda that deals with Aubrey's building, what they call it, Parkside, or whatever the name of their business is, but On Saturday, I got a beer from Erratic. And then I decided to have my second one in a to-go cup. And, walked from there down Broad Street. Somebody looked over at me and said, "Hey, where'd you get the beer?" I said, "Just over at the Erratic Ale." I said, "You're allowed to carry beer?" I said, "Yeah, go get one. Follow me up." And so, I walked up Broad and, I actually crossed the street, over by the coffee shop on the east side of Broad, which is not where I don't think I'm supposed to cross technically. At least it's not signed there though. There's no sign there. But what I realized is you can't really go that far. The district looks a heck of a lot bigger on paper than it does in practicality. And for an event like we had this weekend, especially since, you know, you can go to the social tent and have a beer. It seems like we ought to consider maybe expanding the areas for the social district. I don't see people most of the time in our town carrying around a plastic cup. They go to the place, they sit at the place, they stay at the place. If they want to leave, most people don't grab and go. So I don't think we'd be starting a major thing, but I do think the district is limited and would like to bring that up as a topic at some point. So now you have interest in that as well. So if you want to comment, please do.
Yes, thank you. And yes, I would love to see that there are many communities in Michigan. Traverse City is one that comes to my mind immediately that have their basically center of town and between different businesses that allows for that. So I would really like to see a discussion around potentially adding Monument Park to our social district. By the time, you know, with most of our businesses being already around it and the fact that you can't bring alcohol your own, you have to purchase from one of the businesses in the social district. I think it gives us an opportunity of that discussion.
Dan?
With the social tent, if we change that. When we have summer, what's it called? Not the extra days anymore.
Summerfest.
Summerfest.
They try to keep everybody in the beer tent, is that correct? Or within that area, would that open up the?
So, generally when you are doing a special event, like, the Summerfest or, this weekend's, plein air festival, we apply to the MLCC, for a special event liquor license. They have rules around you have to have barriers and a designated entry point, and that has to be, for lack of a better word, guarded.
Right.
And so you can't exit and enter with alcohol.
And that wouldn't change if we change the social district.
Correct.
Yeah, I think those are two separate things in my mind, but I think that's a great question.
And it looks like Michelle has some thoughts on that as well.
Michelle?
Hi, so, the social tent that you do for Dexter Days, like Justin said, has that special permit. It can't cross over into the social district. So people getting a drink out of the social tent would not be able to take it into the social district because of its particular licensing. Likewise, somebody who has a drink from one of the local establishments that's permitted or a licensee couldn't take their cup into the social tent. And think of it as the demilitarized zone. You don't cross over. MCLC, whatever those initials are, won't allow it.
They're mutually exclusive.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, that ain't gonna cause no confusion at all. Especially when you drink, and I'm sure that'll just be fine.
Easily clarified.
Alright.
Yeah.
If the
It is something
Monument
that-
Park is made a part of the social district, what other social district that will extend to that? You can't walk from the pub to the park, can you? Is that all
Yes.
social district
You
now?
can't now.
Oh, okay, so you would extend it to the sidewalks on both, well, on one side or both of them.
Yes.
the map that Justin gave us, it covers in front of the pub all the way down to Broad Street, just like the mayor said. Problem is, it doesn't continue on to the other side. So if you wanted to go to the park, you would have to go down the south side of Main Street to get all the way down there. But the social district doesn't go across Main Street to
Mhm.
park. And it doesn't extend as far down as
42 north.
42 north either.
I believe city council approved a resolution for 42 north to make their application, but it sounds like from Michelle that they have not made that application yet.
Correct.
It just seems like a normal walking loop, if you were in town, would be around town. You go down one side of the street, go across the street, come all the way down around. But you can't do that with our current makeup.
Understood. It's
So,
a great revenue stream and a great tourist attraction.
just something to think about. It doesn't have to change overnight. I don't generally see many people with the cups. I did hear that Erratic Ale used up a lot of their stickers and plastic cups this weekend, which is a good thing. And the DDA actually provides or helps contribute to those, I think, if I remember right. So I'm sure Michelle is gonna be ordering more, or having that come up again, but it's a good thing. There's a lot of people in town. It was a really cool weekend. So,
Absolutely.
just want to share the thought. We can have it as a future discussion then. This coming, Saturday, the 16th at 10 o'clock has I think an official, opening of the senior center at 10 o'clock. And, I was asked to speak for 2 to 3 minutes, on that day, but I'm flying out to see my daughter in Minneapolis on Friday for the weekend. Is there another council member that would like to represent us
Joe, do
on Saturday? Georgia Frost, our friend, is organizing this, and
it. Joe and Sam, they're always there.
she said it would be. So if there's somebody that's interested, just contact me. I'd like to get back to her and give her a heads up that whether someone will be there or not.
What time?
10 a.m. And again, just show up and say a few things on behalf of the city. Anyway, if you're interested, let me know and I'll reach back out to Georgia. I did go over to the industrial park this afternoon, and particularly stood over near the water tower or outside the fenced area that surrounds the water tower. I was trying to listen to see what I could hear coming from Dex Tech. The doors were open. I don't know that at 6 o'clock or 6:15 when I went over there that it was necessarily active. There weren't that many cars in the parking lot, so I don't know if I was in an active shift or not, but the noise that I can hear sounds like a very low air conditioning unit that's on. It's not, again, this is one stop, one data point. I walked to the, I'm gonna say northeast corner of the water tower fencing, which is abuts the back of Dexter Crossing, and could hear something, but not much. Then I drove around on the new streets on Preston Circle and stood outside on the sidewalk and couldn't hear anything there. But I just want council to know I'm gonna start paying attention to that a little bit. I don't know if there's something that needs to be done or not. I haven't quite concluded that from my perspective yet, but encourage you all to stop by and see what you hear from time to time. I understand after talking to Ray that the doors are kept open. There's a lot of processes that use a lot of heat in the building. It gets very hot in there. So they do that to help cool while they're working. There is evidence of one big fan at one of the doors on the north side, but again, I didn't hear anything that sounds overly loud to me. But again, it might have been after a shift or late in the day, so. Again, just reporting some of the things I'm doing. Ray?
Typically shifts are, first shift is 6 to 2.
Okay.
And that's when they run their 50 big headers. That's the one that makes the most noise.
Okay, 6 to 2, okay.
And then if they have mandatory overtime, they make them come in at 4.
Okay.
So I'm assuming, from what I know from working there, it can be very loud. during that and it from, 6 to 2. After that, the shift,
All right, I'll go in the morning then.
cuts in half. They just can't get, if they had enough people, they'd run 3 full shifts. That's how far behind they are. Which is great, because it's providing revenue to us, but when I first started there, they did run 3 full shifts, 50 machines going 24 hours a day. Also, the one side that faces that water tower, they have these 2 large overhead doors, and that's the scrapping. That's where they dump all the scrap.
Yeah, is that where
wet
the-
scrap, dry
that's where
scrap.
those
Those
roll-off
doors can be,
That's where the roll-off dumpsters are?
yeah, those doors can be closed, and that's. And I've talked to my people that work there, the general manager, the safety guys, but it also draws a lot of hot air. They ain't looking at it as a this or that, they're all about the heat. They got heat treating machines in there that take the bolts that we make, turn them red hot, and then they quench them in oil. So on top of being hot, it's smelly, and they all shoot out the roof, all that shoots out the roof.
Gotcha. I didn't sense an aroma of any type.
Well, that aroma could be also coming from the brewery.
Yeah. All right, well, I just wanted everybody to know I'm investigating a little bit. Michelle?
Sorry, I know I keep putting my hand up. I can provide you, or council, I should say, with the decibel readings that were done last year. And I've already gone out this year and done more, both with the doors open and with the doors closed. The determination, it remains the same as it was last year. Excuse me, there does not appear to be a violation that I could cite that I could use to force the doors to be closed. If I tried to, I think they would fight it and we'd end up in court and I believe we'd lose. So Justin and I are working, trying to find an acoustical engineer who could provide suggestions for mitigation that could better put the residents' minds at ease.
Yeah, so like there is a berm that runs in the back of K space. That ends right near the start of the water tower property. But we, clearly with the contact that we've gotten, there's still at least a perception of an issue. And I wouldn't want to go through the process of like installing a very expensive berm if that's not going to resolve the issue. Or the issue that is perceived. It would wood fence help, wood plantings help, that. Those are questions that I don't know that I know the answer to.
Michelle just said it wasn't an issue. Is that
It's not
misreading that?
it's not a enforceable issue.
legal? Right, okay.
Well, there's a certain expectation when you move next to an industrial complex. Now, whether that's this or that. They originally put that one big berm up along the side, but that was in partly because they had to add something to that building. And they made, I think it was Peters, they made them put that big berm up there, or Dextech, because of the expansion. Now, whether it should have just went all the way down, or I think it hooks around like this around the edge of the parking lot,
A little bit, yeah.
but I don't know.
Look, all I'm saying is I got a copy of the letter. I saw the letter. I've reached out to one of the residents. And I went over and reporting what I heard. I'm not saying it's A, B, or C yet. In fact, it sounds like I was there at the wrong time. I need to go
Maybe,
12
maybe
hours,
not. It's,
12 hours earlier.
Depending on their schedule and the size of the wire and the doors being open, it could be. Exactly as you say, there's certain times, Friday afternoons. Or even Fridays, because it's a union shop, they get so many days, it's amazingly quiet. Mondays are amazingly quiet. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday when everyone's forced to come to work.
Yeah.
There's a lot of machines that don't run all the time. But when they do run, it can be annoying, I guess. I don't know. I myself, I live near the train tracks. I don't, whatever. But I suppose if you dwell on it, it could become an irritant. I don't know if that's something we're responsible for. Really, it just, I don't know. I'm glad you went out there. I'm not expecting nothing. I don't know if they're expecting nothing. All I can do is I appreciate you going out there, you know, and you looking at some compromise. Perhaps there's no compromise, but the intent was there to try to do something. And I think that's almost more important than doing something, sheer intent.
On a side note, I didn't notice this, but, should we have a sign for our facility?
For the water.
The water tower?
Yeah. Just. It's not signed, it's just a fenced area with a lawn driveway.
Really, well, I was out either. I don't have a problem, I'm all about signs.
I think when it's a public facility, it maybe makes sense to let people know that, but
At the end of the driveway or on the actual?
I'd probably, maybe on the fence. I don't think it needs to be up necessarily by the road, but just, I don't know, you know, it's ours, we maintain it, contact number, whatever. We're proud of it, right? That's all I have. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Oh, I just,
Yes, sir.
at the last meeting, I asked about the sheriff report, and you know, we got that boilerplate press release crap. And I was hoping to see a report in here. They only do once a month or?
Yeah, it's a once a month report. I actually reached out to them because the last one that I had received was in June for May services, and Lieutenant Kratzenberg said that I should be receiving the June services and July services reports here soon. Apparently they were running into technical issues with generating the reports.
Do you
Why?
think that report will include total number of hours in the city and what we're due on refund?
It should include into area hours, out of area hours, all of the things that you're normally used to seeing.
Yeah, but then they said if they're not gonna do no bankable, so I'm assuming they're gonna refund us what we paid them for bankable.
So we already received the 2024 reimbursement
So we do it yearly.
for banked hours. For 2025, since they ended it in April or May, they were going to expend, they were going to use up the banked hours that they had and then move forward with the actual as filled services billing. And they have started to do that. They have transitioned over to the new billing system.
So do they have bankable hours currently?
No.
All right, so it's now gonna reflect actual hours versus what I'm gonna get refunded?
Not for going forward, there is no refunding.
You're just gonna get checked.
We're gonna get billed
Great charge.
for the number of PSUs filled, plus any overtime.
Okay, so what do we do now? Do we figure out a monthly budget for that?
So we do set the budget as part of our budgeting cycle. And I mean, I budgeted that it would be full service, that all, you know,
Okay,
3.5 PSUs would be filled.
okay, that's how you budget based on what they're obligated to do
Correct.
versus. what they
Because
do.
we do still have a contract amount per PSU.
So we're doing it like that, all right?
Yeah, but so, you know, if for the collaboration, we all contract for a total of 8 PSUs. If they only have 5 filled, then we're only getting billed for 5. We're not
Okay,
getting
that's fine.
billed for 8.
I don't wanna pay them and then be refunded. I mean, I'm fine paying for.
Mhm.
For individual usage, that's no problem.
Mhm.
I pay for way I go.
Yeah, and that is the way that they're doing it going forward.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed not to see a police report in here.
Mhm.
I'm expecting one once a month. This is 4 weeks. I ain't got no report. Now. We got a lot of festivals and I'm sure that's in discussion here somewhere about what we're gonna cover, what we ain't gonna cover, how we gotta cover.
Mhm.
So. There's just a lot of stuff in the air right now. I'm trying to figure out. If we need to put X amount aside, if we just gonna bill it out, we're just gonna write it off.
Yeah, well, for reference, I just got the bill for July services, and if we were fully staffed, the bill should have been, 47,000 per month. And this last one was 32 or 34. So,
So when. Like a
So-
40% reduction, maybe 35%.
Mhm.
Well, it's
Yeah,
got
maybe.
half-ass police in there.
well, because they only have like 5 out of 8 PSUs filled.
Okay. And
Okay, are there any council member reports under J7 before I move on to the consent agenda? Seeing none, was one of you going to make a motion for the 6 items on the consent agenda, please?
I'll make it.
Thank you, Mr. Tell.
Consent agenda, number 1. Bills and payroll in the amount of $278,481.34. Number 2. Consideration of student rep appointment. Number 3, appointment to DDA, Downtown Development Authority. Number 4, purchase and installation of SCADA communication radios from UIS for an amount not to exceed $31,500. Number 5, resolution for recommendation of Aubrey Social District Pyramid request to MLCC. And number 6, award of managed IT services to BlackRock for an amount not to exceed $34,200 per year through 2028.
I
Thank you.
second.
Motion by Tal, second by Aldag. Thank you both. Beth, please call the vote to approve the 6 items on the consent agenda.
Samifaro,
Yes.
Schloss,
Yes.
Popoff,
Yes.
Tell,
Yes.
Aldag,
Yes,
Keel.
Yes. Thank you, Beth. We have no unfinished business. So we'll move down to new business, item M1. Consideration of a public safety facilities change order for fire alarm additions for an amount not to exceed $9,513. Would someone like to make that motion? Get us started.
make that motion.
Thank you, Sanam. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Dan. Is there any questions on what we're doing here?
I got a question.
Okay, Joe, I saw your hand too, Ray, go ahead.
Were these missed on the original work order schedule planning thing or?
So I saw the chief walk in, so he might be able to help me answer some of these questions. But it's my understanding that Cunningham Limp had provided in their bid package an amount needed to meet code. And these are over and above code. And so as the subcontractor was working on more detailed plans, the chief reviewed those plans and had some additional requests.
Should we hear from the chief?
Do we need to?
I don't know.
Well, we can, if you'd like. What is your question for the chief?
Why
Why it's happening when it's
the
happening?
code isn't. You go to a code, but then we need more than the code.
Okay, chief, welcome.
Good evening.
Thanks for being here. Sounds like we have questions related to the timing of this more than anything, I think.
Yeah, well, I think it's, I wasn't involved in the process until I sort of put myself in the process and asked the question. And then when I looked at it and saw that in fact, there was not a plan to detect the apparatus bay, which in fire station fires is actually the highest likelihood place where you'll have a fire in a fire station. About 45% of fire station fires originate in the apparatus themselves, inside the apparatus bay, and about 15% in the apparatus bay outside of the trucks in some other component in the apparatus bay, and about 29% in the kitchen area. So that's really where the highest risk is. I can't answer why the fire code doesn't require it, other than the fire code is trying to be generalizable to all sorts of businesses that may have large storage garages. And those storage garages may be used differently than the fire station is used. And I did see a question in the supplemental information that Justin sent out today about the risk of the batteries and battery charging items that are part of normal operations in the fire department. And every fire apparatus, almost every fire apparatus, for us, it's all of the big trucks and all of the small pickup trucks have an actual plug. They actually get plugged in to an electrical outlet every time they're pulled at the station. And that electrical outlet trickle charges the battery for the vehicle, as well as charges any other devices that may be plugged in the vehicle. And for us, that can be medical equipment, radios, fans, all of our extrication tools now are battery operated. We've gone to battery operated tools for many of the items that used to be gasoline powered. And those used to be NiCad batteries. They've now progressed to lithium ion batteries. And when those fail, they fail pretty spectacularly and cause very hot, significant fires that are difficult to control, and definitely put the bulk of our fire equipment at risk. And fire trucks are really expensive, take a long time to get, and especially in a station where we're parking several of them, any amount of fire in there or damage to that equipment would be a significant financial loss and a significant operational impact as we're trying to replace those equipment. So it is not a part of code, but in my mind, that's where the risk is. And for this project, you have agreed to invest a significant amount of resources in providing a fantastic station. And I want to make sure that it's safe and it's there for entire life of the building.
Okay, so it's like additional insurance, prevent defense.
Yeah, potentially. And, I know that I didn't see the question in this packet, but what often gets asked is, oh, firefighters there, if there's a fire, to put it out. The firefighters are sleeping, firefighters are out managing other calls, and it can be just as likely that a fire could happen at that time as when they are right there in the building. And even if they're in the building, if it's not detected and they're not alerted, it has the opportunity to get larger and do more damage before they can respond. And it happens every year. Dexter has not had any close calls or any fires in any of our stations, but doesn't mean it can't happen. And there were about 125 fire stations last year, according to USFA.
So I'm totally supportive of doing it. I don't have a problem with the $9,500. I guess I'm gonna say I'm disappointed that I thought we had a user group that was led by our architect that would have had these conversations earlier. Okay, when I saw the email from Doug, I basically, why now? Basically was my question back. I don't understand why we've already approved the $10 million in in significant other stuff, brick, mortar, electrical, mechanical, concrete.
Yeah, I
And
think.
hold on, let me,
Go ahead.
please. You know, so I would like to think that you're invited into any process that involves a building you're gonna be in. Okay, and I thought that Partners had led that and that Cunningham was continuing that. I don't know how to correct that after the fact other than to do this. Okay, so I mean, it's on the agenda. It's frankly, it's a little embarrassing that we're talking about putting fire protection equipment in a fire station after the fact as if we didn't think of it. Okay, that I don't like that perception personally. Okay, that's embarrassing to me. That being said, I think it's the right thing to do. I don't think it's something we can't afford. And I don't know what else is out there as a council member. I don't know what other interaction hasn't occurred. I guess I asked you to ask Cunningham Limp that. I'll throw you a softball. If we had the 2022 fire code, is it in that?
You know, I thought of that as I was driving here, and I haven't had a chance to look that up to see if we've caught up again.
I mean, it's our intention to catch up, okay, on that. But would that have automatically triggered
I
it?
don't think so, because again, the fire code is trying to be
Yeah.
all things to everybody, and
That's
so
what I
they're thinking the manufacturing company or
Yeah.
a FedEx company or something that's parking their vehicles inside and saying, well, if it's just the vehicles and they're just sitting there parked, but they're probably not plugging all their vehicles in and not charging a bunch of things inside of them. So that's where I think our risk is probably different than what the code is trying to address.
I don't know who's handling it. Pavel first, then Dan, if that's okay.
Chief, so battery fires are definitely not a joke. My sister actually works with them on purpose. She blows them up. They're fantastic. Saw videos, very hot, burns very quick. Understand need for that for this particular building, considering that's their equipment. But considering the things brought up, how about the other two items? With this item necessarily not being part of the code for an average building, this is a specialty item. Would make sense why we would want to pay for it. While the other two items, you really need them.
The other one is
to have
that there is a suppression system in the hood over the cooking, over the stove. And that suppression system can fire and suppress, you know, or attempt to suppress a fire. It never would trigger the detection system unless the smoke was big enough to get out further into the room and trip a detector. And again, to me, that seems not as safe as it should be. You know, we've got administrative offices upstairs, firefighters could dash out on a call. And if they're cooking something or in the middle of something and they don't get it turned off and they leave and it flares up, the suppression system may fire, but we could be upstairs and not even know that that has happened if the alarm doesn't trip.
Yeah. Makes sense. Be really bad, I suppose, if the firefighters go on the call and just really leave their food out on the stove and burn down the station. But, having the pull stations at the two exits, is that necessary?
It's a public building, so again, there may be times when public are in there and firefighters are not, or firefighters leave, and I mean, I guess out of the three items, that's the one that's I think is a good idea. I wouldn't say that's the hill I'm gonna stand on and fully insist on, but I do believe that it makes sense that if someone who's not gonna, even if they're gonna attempt to fight the fire, has an ability to immediately trigger the system. And, you know, initially, when I looked at it, I would have wanted them, if we'd had this discussion earlier, I would have advocated to have one at every exit. We picked sort of the three main exits. That's why there was one included. I added two more. They came back with 15 heat detectors for the apparatus bay, like 3 for each parking space. I don't think that's necessary. I backed that down to 5, 1 for each bay. So I did dial back the scope when they when they first responded with their initial change order.
Thank you, Chief.
All set?
Thank you.
Dan, you're up next, sir.
Just want to say thank you. I mean, something like this, it's gonna take a professional to be able to help us through it. I'm sure that the company that we hired tried to do the best that they could, but you're a resident professional and I'm definitely gonna support this and thank you. I mean, we need to do the right thing.
I was just gonna respond, Mayor, in the user group, we talked sort of general scope, and then there's been a little bit in when the details started, where I haven't been as involved, and I think we've got that figured out now, and you know, attending the weekly meetings and things, so hopefully we're not gonna be repeating these conversations.
All good. Any further questions for the chief? Ray?
Yeah, that's great, Doug. I can stand being embarrassed for 10 grand if my building don't burn down. So it's gonna look like we was way ahead of the curve later on when people come look at, oh, you do that, you did do that. So even though it wasn't in the code, so the prevent's always good.
I think it sets a good example too for the rest of the community, and we are enforcing code in other situations.
Well, it's hard to argue with it. So we got it in the fire department, man, and it needs to be done everywhere.
Okay, Joe?
I just want to clarify, we are meeting code with the design without this change, correct? Yes. I don't necessarily agree with the idea that lithium ion batteries are unusual in vehicles that are parked in garages. I mean, every single truck that's on a construction site has, you know, DeWalt, Milwaukee tools, all kinds of tools with all kinds of lithium ion. And electric vehicles overall, I mean, obviously people have all over.
I think the difference is we're actively charging those batteries. Those batteries are much less likely to fail when they're just sitting there. It's when they're under load.
I agree 100%. You're right. It's usually the battery management system is what fails and causes the problem with the batteries. Usually the battery's not a problem at all. That's why I mean, if specifically going to the article that you referenced, you know, it said specifically that the batteries were connected to an external power connection. So, I mean, I don't know why you would want to do that while you were either out of the building or asleep, either or. I mean, the other thing is the last paragraph of that article says, precisely because there's a lot of technology in fire stations and batteries are being charged, it makes sense to equip them with fire systems. Fisher said, the guy who was there, noting it was unclear whether such a system could have prevented the worst in the situation. Quote, this fire spread at breakneck speed, he said. So, I mean, I understand that you want to have the alarms there and the sensors there, but you're better off getting rid of the issue than you are trying to detect it. Because like you said, when those batteries go off, they're nasty. You know, you have an electric vehicle and it's on fire. It's a mess.
And I think that electric fire trucks are coming. You know, they're already being deployed in large metropolitan areas, but I think, you know, 10, 15 years from now, we may have parked in our station and actively charging. Unfortunately, I think that risk is with us for a while. They haven't figured out yet how to manage that appropriately.
So this quote is complete, right? Covers all the rewiring, whatever additional spots that have to have something on the wall or. Okay. Okay, Beth, please. Oh, yes, go ahead, Pablo. Sorry.
Sorry to interrupt, just last minute. I mean, if we're really talking about good design for a place where you are charging a lot of battery and equipment, and just like your average Joes, when they're using equipment, they're usually rough on it, right? So when you're putting it all together, since we are talking about where this should go, wouldn't it make sense to have a separate room for just this type of equipment, or do you need to have it in each particular bay? Just kind of like, looking it out, isolate the problem, move it as much as possible away from other high value items.
Yeah, the challenge is that it's, each piece of equipment is on each truck. And so to pull all of that equipment from a central location, load it on the truck before responding would, you know, it's a multi-pronged challenge with few good solutions, as far as prevention.
Apologize, but
No, it's okay. Okay. Everybody good? Okay, Beth, please call the vote. Motion was made by Sanam, seconded by Schlaf to approve the change order.
Tell,
Yes.
Aldag,
Yes.
Simifaro,
Yes.
Schlaf,
Yes.
Popov,
yes,
Keel.
Yes, motion carries. Chief, thanks for attending this evening. New business item M2 is consideration of a proposal from OHM Advisors for architectural and engineering design for 8050 Main Street, more commonly recently known as Hotel Hickman, for an amount not to exceed 19,000 for task 1 and 4, with cost to be paid by the Downtown Development Authority.
I'll make a motion.
Make the motion. Thank you, sir.
I second.
Second by Albeck. Thank you. Any discussion needed? Questions?
Thank you, DDA.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the thought being that we'll do those tasks and learn a little bit about the building and then try to get to, then have something else to build from, concepts and cost estimates, that type of thing. Okay, no further hands? Great. Beth, please call the vote.
Simifaro,
Yes.
Aldag,
Yes.
Popov,
Yes,
Schlaf,
Yes.
Tell,
Yes.
Keel.
Yes. Motion carries. New business item M3, consideration of direction relating to Washington County Sheriff's Office events cost or event costs. Joe?
I would like to suggest a motion, and I know what I'm thinking of, but I'm hoping to have more discussion, but I'd like to propose the option 2 as make a motion that we adopt, option 2, which essentially includes the city will cover the costs associated with police services related to road closure or sale of the alcohol and event up to, and I don't know how to phrase this easily, but basically, after looking at the other events, I'd like to say up to $2,500 or up to the number of hours that is covered by the police or by the sheriff's department. That would be $2,500.
Not exceed 25.
Yes.
Is there a second for that?
Yeah, let's see where it goes.
So
Seconded by Tel?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
what the reason for that is, I had asked Justin in the supplement to add in the table that he had previously given us. With the amounts of the charges for the sheriff's department based on the hours for the particular events. A couple of them was it $2,016?
For paint texture and the parade.
Right, and so my assumption is that's a certain number of hours. I'm
Mhm.
guessing 2016
Mhm.
wasn't a number that just magically appeared the same. What I would offer is that over time, that's gonna increase, right? And the contract's gonna go up. Instead of trying to track and say, adjusting, 5 years from now, we say, oh, 2,500 is not enough. Now we're gonna change this and move it up. What I'm suggesting is whatever round number of hours that equates to about $2,500 we put on there. It should cover the events that we've had, which we've already been covering the hours for. And then if there is some type of a situation where there's an event that requires a lot more resources, then that particular event can have an additional cost that goes with that. And obviously we could consider adjusting based on whatever that event is, if that were. So that was my thinking.
So what does this table mean to me? The high school commencement, 1 deputy, 6 hours.
So
What does that mean?
we had asked the sheriff's office for a breakdown of the number of deputies and the number of hours that have been used in the past for different events. And this is what their I guess their normal uses for each of these events.
So,
And what that equates to it with today's contract.
okay, so the reference to external would be the cost if it was somebody other than us that they're contracting,
Correct.
and because we're a partner and
Mhm.
have a contract, the cost is 504.
Correct.
Us or the schools or the townships.
And any of the contracting partners.
Okay, so what you're saying is when high school commencement comes up, it would cost us an extra 504 based on this estimate.
Correct.
Is that what I'm saying? And then the parade, the homecoming parade is more, so could, like you said, Joe, that's the 2016. Is that what you're,
Yeah, well, yeah,
So-
of all
so-
these events, the biggest one was the 2016 for the homecoming parade and the paint extra.
okay, so your motion is supported by the 7 events that are here. Are additional events allowed?
I'm sorry.
Is your motion specific to just these 7
No,
events?
it was just in general.
So any event that we approve that would have a cost less than 2,500.
Yeah.
We would take on anything more than that, the vendor would take on, or the,
Well, I'm assuming that's been the process in the past when we had a 5K run or when we had the bicycle race through town, if there was sheriff that was needed. Unless I know, maybe it's different. There was costs. I don't know.
So usually with like the run in June, the Dexter Ann Arbor run, that they would normally contract directly with the sheriff's office. Trying to think of who else.
that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going.
There's
So
one or
in
two
that case,
others.
how does adding option 2 discern that we would do these, but not that one?
If we went with option 2, any event that would have a road closure or the sale of alcohol would be eligible.
I was offering it up for discussion on exactly that kind of thing, so.
So the Ann Arbor run would be covered.
Pavel?
We're actually just mentioning this whole thing, situation. I don't think any of these proposed motions really, we can't have all of these events fit into a nice little category. So we just need to recognize that we have different tiers of events and classify them accordingly. For example, there are certain events that I'll be very happy to pay for, like Memorial Day parades. So certain things need to be grandfathered in because those are the traditions of the city. That's something that we are known for to have. And that's probably something that we should be contributing to and have a certain amount of money allocated for. But then there are other things that are, for example, a nonprofit organization, we can suggest that we can have a portion covered if the city council decides to do so. And allocate some sort of funding for it, and then have finally a 3rd tier events that are for profit that should be, and it seems that they are being covered by the contract with the county sheriff, by the actual organizers of the event. Is that correct?
So, I mean, if I can.
Yeah, please.
I think we run into potential legal challenges if we subdivide the type of category based on the organization applying for it. It's the issue that we run into a lot. if we pick the organizations that we like and decline the organizations that we don't like, there's a high probability of us getting sued and losing.
Keep going.
Well, I think we should then have a legal give us an opinion on that. I mean, I don't necessarily think that putting a for-profit organization run to make a profit is equivalent to high schoolers having a homecoming event. Really, if you're going to sue me on that, go ahead and try. I don't think that will stand. I mean, that's just ridiculous. One is a public institution and the other one is a business. There is a big difference.
I mean, if we said public institutions, if we said, you know, governmental entities are exempt, I think there's grounds for that. I mean, we certainly can ask for a legal opinion. My goal in creating these options was to do something similar in here are categories based on the type of use. Which I think is a likely defensible position.
So, thank you. The ones in the supplement are either schools or City of Dexter or Chamber, right?
The ones that are listed in the supplement, correct.
So I think that's, to me, it's like, if you're a school, if you are us. And in that category, I count Chamber as cities or, you know, if DDA is doing, to me, that's like schools and Dexter. Those are the ones that we cover. Everybody else.
To schools or city organizations or organizations that the city is a member of, like Chamber.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. Yeah.
So the question is what's the question? Are we gonna get a legal opinion on whether we can do that? Is that what we're asking? That's what you're suggesting, I think, right?
Yes, that's what I would like to find out. If it is
So if-
organization affiliated with the city, if that's okay for us to put them in a separate category than a business, which becomes a subsidy to a business rather than
Yep,
a
understood.
government entity.
And how to designate.
And how to designate it so that we're not in trouble of not separating them properly.
Sounds good. Sounds good to you, John? Right?
Let's go to page 112. So in the original language in the current park use permit. Are the responsibility of the event sponsor, is that currently true? Did Summerfest contract with the sheriff?
They did not.
So our original language is baloney.
Well, so a lot of them would reach out to the sheriff's office. The sheriff's office would coordinate with them to figure out how many deputies they needed and then would bill banked hours.
Okay, so.
The reason that we're now focusing on this is because of the elimination of the banked hour system.
Right, I'm just reading what's in there. I didn't know that the banked hours was an addendum.
Mhm.
So now I'm looking at page, where the hell am I? I'm looking at these Gmail page here with all the costs on it, right? And it says, Sergeant Hogan stated the overtime rate for external deputies is 115 or 84 for contract partners. Don't we have an agreed amount out? When do they decide what's overtime and what ain't?
They have a lot of rules on what is and is not, what constitutes and does not constitute overtime, and it's baked into our contract.
Well, I find it hard to believe when they don't meet their contract and then they charge me for overtime when they're still under hours.
So if a position is within 2 weeks, or if a position is vacant for 2 weeks or less, it goes to overtime. If it's vacant for greater than 2 weeks, then we don't get charged anything additional. And then there are certain like. Want to call it like force account work where like the deputies are forced to work overtime. And some of these events would constitute forced overtime.
Even though they're not fulfilling their obligation for 8 full-time deputies.
Correct.
So we're paying overtime for stuff they're mandated to do because they can't do the original contract. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm not gonna get into
I
it.
understand where you're going, but there's,
It kind of,
It's
it just kind of rubbed me
complicated.
the wrong way.
Mhm. you're not the only one.
I'm really starting to get tired of that Alicia girl. Look, I don't mind paying my fair share, that's fine. But the other thing is, with the back and forth we've had with the school district over the years, do we want to be committed to these school events? I mean, wasn't no big deal when it was banked hours. I mean, the schools do provide a certain level of convenience, you know, they have all the fields, there's a big interconnected trail in there. They bring a lot of people into town. But at the same time, they bring a lot of problems into town. There's traffic. There's the road counts where they want us to maximize certain things at certain intersections. And whenever they have an issue, they're very urgent in their petition. And I'm sure that's all within a school board rationale. But I'm not on the school board, I'm on the city council, so. And we're actually. I don't know. How to delineate that any better. I see them as 2 separate entities. I want to cooperate. But how much do I have to cooperate? I mean. The commencement does nothing for me as a citizen. It doesn't increase my revenue at my store. I don't have a store. Doesn't increase my traffic. It takes a lot of my staff's time. So I'm just throwing it out there. I'm neither here nor there. But I do have touchy feelings with the school board, although I'm more than friendly with them. And I ain't looking to start a contest here, you know, I can be difficult, I ain't being difficult. Just, is that fair and equitable? I don't know.
Well, the reality is we, and it's not really our fault or ours to manage. The reality of the situation is that we always agreed to pay a certain number of deputies, but just because they don't have to be here as much, we got the benefit of having extra hours that contribute to these programs. And even though we're not keeping track of the hours, until their hiring changes, it doesn't sound like even if we contract for what we're contracting for, that we're gonna be paying the full amount. I mean, so, you know, we were covering these costs before, just through the use of some of the banked hours that we had, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's-
but the banked hours were tracked collaboration wide. And so when they would use banked hours, it was essentially all 3 communities contributing to staffing these events.
Okay.
But-
Okay, as opposed to just one.
Correct.
Okay, well, look, there's no timeline on when we have to figure this out yet. So why don't we get the legal opinion that was suggested and think on it a little bit and we'll come back to it. I don't know if 2,500 is the right amount or not. It's a good starting point for people to think about. Is there a motion can I get a motion to table the item until we get the legal opinion that's been requested? Related to,
Movie table.
It'll be a postponement rather than.
Or postpone, yeah, sorry, postpone, sorry. I wanted to see if anybody was reading.
Oh,
Yeah, I wasn't either.
I second.
Motion to postpone until the next meeting, is that possible? Okay. Motion by Senator Farrell, second by Alden. Please call the vote to postpone. Oh, is that at hand?
Pablo had a.
Oh,
I just,
I'm
wanted to kind of add to what Ray said. He's, kind of right on button there, suggesting that with the change from the banking system, now only one community is stuck with the bill rather than all the communities that compose the school, district. So perhaps it would be, fathers would, also consider talking or discussing with the school board or other communities how they are planning to remedy the fact that the bill is being pinned on us and they are essentially enjoying the benefit of our taxpayers.
we can absolutely have those conversations. I'm sure they don't even realize there's a cost impact for them.
No, you know.
Perhaps
I mean, some of these things, you know, leave the city. They pass through other communities,
right.
Who's the new superintendent?
you know, so, like I said, I don't think we have to decide anything, let's get the legal opinion. So just so I'm clear, what is the opinion we're asking for? Or what is it we're asking for an opinion on?
So I mean, if I can
How did you-
take a crack,
Yeah.
clarification on how we are able to divide or subdivide
Categories of,
categories of potential applicants based on organization type.
yeah, okay, that's what I, okay. Just want to make sure everybody's clear. Good. All right, Beth, please call the vote to postpone.
Aldag,
Yes.
Simifaro,
Yes.
Tell,
Yes.
Schloff,
Yes.
Popoff,
Yes.
Keel.
Yes, motion carries. All right, so we're down to our final new business item, which is a discussion item on the PFAS class action litigation participation. Justin, I'll turn this over to you.
Sure. So we were contacted by a group of attorneys to let us know that we are eligible to participate in in the initial stages of a class action settlement with the manufacturers of PFAS and PFOA chemicals. Because it's a class action suit, it takes a broad classification of potential litigants, groups them all together, and says we're going to deal with all of you at the same time. The group that they're dealing with right now is water treatment systems and municipal water treatment systems. Even though we the city have gone through the process and all of our tests after filtration show no PFAS, what they're looking at is at the source contamination and whether or not that exists. If it exists, then you're eligible to participate and potentially get dollars based on the level of contamination and the number of wells or water sources that are contaminated. Also, I'd asked some questions about the suit process, and I tried to answer those in my memo. I did invite Scott Manzal, city attorney, to help with any questions that might come up about the class action process. I know that there was some hesitation or potential lack of interest overall. However, city council wants to go with this, I'm completely fluid. If council is not interested at all, happy to relay that message. If council does want to proceed, happy to bring this back as an item. But I wanted to bring it as a discussion item first to try and hammer out any questions that you might have before bringing it back for a potential consideration item.
Ray?
Is this strictly for PFAs or will it, if dioxane started coming from Gelman into our plume, would this conclude any of that?
This is
Strictly PFA?
strictly PFAS, so there are, a set number or a set, group of, PFAS, chemical creators
Okay.
that were sued. And
Yeah.
so those are the people that are potentially on the hook.
Is there a numerical amount I need to pay to be included under this retainer?
So under the retainer, what they're saying is that they are willing to take on the costs of the initial investigation
Right.
at their cost, no cost to the city of Dexter. But then if something is found,
They want a
then
third.
they take a cut of the proceeds.
Is one more.
Yep.
Is this? You said you're flexible, I'm trying to determine. Most of the PFAs are coming from waterways, I'm assuming, not from aquifers, but I can't guarantee that the aquifer won't be polluted someday from, I don't know, buried out on Sloan property.
So what they would do is they would test now.
Right.
If it came back clean, then there's nothing. There's no further action. If we get impacted at some point in the future, there's nothing. It's over.
So it's based on a photo of what's happening right now. If I was to dig 6 well and I come up here, if I had to do that. Cause this is a one time. All right, thank you.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. No.
Just had a question to follow up. Found Mr. The potential of wastewater impact. Right, so that wasn't managed, but that's not something that we are actively kind of looking at potentially if we have that issue. If it's breaking our treatment equipment post usage.
So right now, the class action is dealing with water with the distribution of water. There's a separate class action dealing with wastewater.
Not related to this, or is it?
I mean, they're related, but they're two separate suits. And I know Scott sat in on the meeting with the firms, and I'd invite Scott up to.
Come on up, Scott.
This is why I invited you, Scott.
Yeah, Justin has accurately and correctly conveyed all the information.
Wow.
Dan?
We've already spent a shit ton of money and time on this.
Mhm.
Okay, so there's no recovering any of them costs. I mean, the state required us. I mean, we had to test our water. We had to test the discharge from the wastewater treatment plant. And PFAS can also be found with old fire departments. So we went around and tested and we did find low concentrations, but we also found it in one of the pipes in a manhole leading from Alpha Metal, which they had to spend, I don't know how many thousands of dollars, because the only way to get rid of it is to get rid of the pipe and get rid of what, went in there. Like I said before, my big question is, and I don't know who to ask, is 20 years from now, because the Mill Creek and the Huron River is loaded with it, is it ever got into somebody's well? Because if it does, I mean, it's gonna cost the city or whatever, well, look at what it did to Ann Arbor. I mean, Ann Arbor had to change their whole system to get that out.
So if there is a well that gets contaminated in the future, we're SOL. Because the chemical developers of PFAS are settling all suits now.
It's
Oh,
Gelman Junior, right?
They've taken all potential litigants, brought them all together and said, now is your chance to make a recovery.
How can they see into the future? Is that a legal thing I want to learn?
The only thing I would add is related to your comment. Mr. Schlaff, is that the way I understand it is they would bear all the costs of testing, which would really be just at the sources. And notwithstanding that your treatment is, if there are PFASs, but the treatment you currently have is successful because you're not getting any PFASs coming out of your drinking water supply. But notwithstanding that, you would still be entitled to some amount of money that you would be able to use for your system in perhaps other ways, but some ways to enhance your water distribution system, even if you didn't really even need it.
But the wastewater component is separate.
Okay, so, Justin, you've got basically 12 pages in here on this thing.
Mhm.
Or a little more. You got your memo?
Mhm.
Okay, and then you've got a resolution on page 123.
That was provided by the firm.
Okay, with an attachment.
Mhm.
Okay, and then is there a second attachment? On page 131? It looks slightly different than that, my name's on there also,
Yes,
but is there a reason that there are two sets? Are they otherwise the same? They appear to be, but I didn't print them and put them side by side. I just wondered, are we looking at the first one or the second one? And if they're identical, other than my name, is that just a packet mishap thing, or I wanna make sure I understand what I'm doing.
I believe it's just a
It's in their
an
place?
accidental duplication.
Okay, so one of these signed by somebody, obviously, okay, so there's only one agreement that we're talking about, only one contract, right?
Correct.
Okay. In the contract, there's an acronym AFFF. I'd like to understand what that is, since it's a discussion. And what is the timing that we have to make a decision by?
Soon. Because the window to file a claim, to test positive and then file a claim, needs to be in by the end of the year, I believe they said.
Do we have a memo that says that?
We may have an email, but that was the representation when we met. That's what they said.
Okay, that would be good information for us to have, so we know what we're operating under. Can we verify the date that we have to make a decision by?
Justin, I didn't see the packet, which, so do you have the contract for legal services in the packet?
Yeah, there's two of
Is
them.
that the red line that I prepared, or is that their version?
I think it's both.
Okay. Because I did make some changes that I would suggest in their proposed contract.
Can we see the red line version?
Mhm.
Please?
I just, the most important was to make sure that there were only, there'd be no cost to the city unless there was a recovery.
So, this council has a former council member, who's pretty knowledgeable in all of the PFAS. Both physically, how it works, how to treat it, how to not treat it, how to. Anyway, that person is Scott Bell.
Oh,
I placed a call to Scott, today, and I didn't get to talk to him, but I would like to. I would respect his opinion on this as, just as an educated person dealing with that.
Mhm.
For other public entities, might be worth talking to.
Mhm.
I'm sure to provide any, I didn't know what to, there's two things here.
Mhm.
I appreciate seeing what we received. Maybe we've seen that before, Justin, but I didn't go look.
No, the
I'd like to know how we were notified of this.
you want to see all the emails?
Is there a lot of them?
There's a few.
The way that came up, I think, Mr. Keo, is there's a law firm representing the city in a tort claim. Someone who slipped and fell somewhere in the city, and the firm that's representing them is Cummins, McClory, Davidson, Acho. And so they are aware of this litigation, and they, I believe, contacted the other firm that is the actual, would be the actual attorney for the city. And so that's how they then contacted Justin. Because they thought that there might be a potential that Dexter could be entitled to some funds.
So like, all the communities didn't get the same letter?
I think there's different firms reaching out to different communities.
Okay. Mr. Stewart,
Well, it makes anybody feel better. All the walls had their checks and there wasn't any. It's been a while, but when they initiated, when all this came out, they had us check them all. We're not required to do that any longer. The golden point source, which is still really in well file. Solution been negative with.
so how did we do that? What, those tests that we did, what did we physically do?
We had to go get samples. We could physically get samples from the leach well.
Okay,
The reason why I think that they're jumping on board, obviously, it's an attorney, so they can jump on board with that. But the tests are usually around $400 to $500 a piece.
but we did one for each well?
The state had us do, and this was, I want to say about 6 years ago. So PFAS is so new, they make you do it once a year from the point source. I talked to a few people in the state, they're trying to get away from a few certain like lead and copper for so many years. 5, so to say, of negatives, you might have to go once in 3 years. That's not been set yet, but it's been talked about. So, I feel great if we have to take the test, we'll be nice. So, that's why I've never really, because this has been on for a couple of years now, with getting letters and asking about this stuff, and that's why I really don't, I don't forward with it, because it's, I don't think we'll find it. We can bring maybe testing. So.
Okay. Thank you. Pablo?
Just to kind of add the chemistry perspective, and I think it's a good idea to talk to your subject matter expert. The fact that PFAS classification as molecules has changed over time. Certain subgroups of them have been added to the list and are actually now part of the test. So even if we have tested 10 years ago, there is no, I mean, when I'm looking in the mass spec data, I'm looking for a particular compound. If I'm not looking for something,
Yep.
it may very well be there and we wouldn't be the wiser. So if a new classification of what a PFAS is has changed within the last 6 years, which I think is actually very, very likely, there's a chance that what previously was a negative test would just pick up compounds that were just never considered to be part of the group before. Which it's not just one molecule, right? PFAS is a whole class, subclass of molecules.
So let me take a different perspective on it. What's the downside of doing this? I mean, if we just said, yeah, this is a great idea. Let's get on board. There's a bandwagon, it's like the Tigers rolling, you know, we're doing this. What's the downside?
Staff time,
What's that?
staff time.
When it was initially done, the state came with our staff and did it. But now we do it ourselves. And so it's just an expensive task. That's the
But they're paying for them.
so, well,
If
They
All of
would.
it.
I actually am surprised it was that cheap. I thought the test might be several thousands of dollars. I thought it was real money. But if the tests are only that inexpensive, it's not.
Now your firm's gonna want to represent us.
We can talk about that later, but it is kind of funny. It's definitely, there's some entrepreneurial lawyers out there, and that's.
Yeah,
really no-
that's a nice-
that's actions now.
I get it, I get it. Okay, does anybody have anything else we want to research? I'm interested in the timeline we have to make the decision on this. Justin.
Okay.
Please.
I never seen anything for free.
All right,
Yeah, free.
Well, the thing
But,
is,
but I mean, your point is well said, because you
Correct.
don't know what the definition of it is that they're
Right, it
comparing
all
against at
changed.
any point in time either, and I don't know if that's limited in what the settlement as you boxed already is, I just don't understand it well enough to do it. to talk about it.
And I did include a link in my memo to the firm's page where they discuss the class action and potential settlement amounts and a lot of that detail.
I didn't look at that, I'll admit that. Okay, thank you for putting that in front of us. We're back around to non-arranged participation. Josh, did you get all those other people that left? They back? No? Would anybody like to speak under non-arranged this evening? Okay, council comments? Eva? Nothing from you, okay, Joe?
Of the data that was in the packet or the supplement for the water and sewer usage. I just quickly ran through and charted that out. And I thought it was really surprising. I mean, it shows overall our water over 25 years declining slightly and our sewer going up slightly. But the thing I find the most puzzling is from 2000 to 2010, we pretty much doubled in population, but didn't see usage go up by a significant amount. And then, I mean, we went up probably 50% since that point in time. So I don't know, I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just efficiency. I don't know. So, but it looks like long-term, at least you and Councilmember Tell had asked about at the last meeting about what our future water usage might be. If it's anything like past trends, looks like it's flat. So, just seems odd, but regardless. I'm sure there was something else I wanted to mention. I can't think of it right now, so I'll defer to next meeting.
Thank you for your comments. Yeah, well, thank you. Mr. Tell?
Well, I did go to the Dexter Forum last Saturday. They had a nice little ceremony. It was supposed to be for mainly John Hanson. He doesn't participate anymore, but then they threw Carl in there too, and he wasn't aware. There was so many people. There had to be 100 people there. It was just standing room only. The building is pretty amazing. So I might have to join. They got like lunches and stuff. We'll see.
Are you a senior?
Oh, man, I'm the, what year is this? I'll be 69 in this month.
Nice, awesome. All set?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question for you, just clarification, for Chet Hill's proposal, OHM is going to lay that out for us as one of the options, was that, if I just understood the comment correctly?
Justin, has OHM seen this? It sounds like Chet had talked to them, or,
So I know, Mark had mentioned, meeting on site with Chad. I don't know if he's seen this version, because I don't think I've seen this version. To send over to Marcus, so.
all right, well, I talked to Chet earlier this week on this.
Okay.
He called me, or I think it was, sorry, not this week, last week, I believe it was, early last week. What I told him is that, I'd like to see the pricing come back on the option that we collectively supported to go through that process. I still think there's merit in what we chose. I think there's a lot of ways to do this. I could ask all sorts of questions about this. Why is it 5 foot on this part of the ramp and 4 foot up there? Doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, but that could easily be widened so that they're the same number, okay, all that stuff, without. Some of this is gonna come down to personal preference. Okay, on orientation and where we think it could go. Chet, I know feels strongly that, you know, he thinks there's a better way to do this. It doesn't, as he puts it, cross over the park, or in this case, it would go this way. But, you know, it wasn't on the agenda tonight, so I wasn't trying to make it part of the agenda until we get the information we requested our city staff bring back. You know, then we'll ultimately decide whether to go forward with one option or the other. But at least, I think at least when we get ours back, we'll have some idea of the cost. You know, right, which is always something we have to think about.
So, and, sorry.
You can have this, or you.
Yeah, I have a copy, but I just wanted to be clear that, I haven't gotten the specs back from OHM to price anything out yet for next meeting.
Okay, is that taking a long time, or?
I mean, it's been a couple weeks. Well, we're just off, but that's been. one of the
Yeah,
things I
okay,
need
all right.
to touch base with them on.
Well, hopefully we can have something soon. I also wanted to go out there. I don't know if these numbers are even right. I mean, he's got elevations on here from the ground. I haven't had a chance to measure, and I wasn't gonna go try and do it during the middle of the festival either. But I mean, I think we're on a good path. We're at least progressing down a path towards something, and we can come back to the orientation if we want to or need to. Like I said, I was pleased with what we've done so far. So, but you're, you know, from my perspective, talk to HM about anything that you need to, so that we can try to make the best decision when it's time. Okay, I'll seek a motion for adjournment at 9:21. Thank you for that question.
Thanks, sir.
Move adjourned.
Moved by Joe,
I'll second.
second by Sanam. All in favor? Aye. Those opposed?